And now, Introduce Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a plot twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 6 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tina, Winona, Elena, Nina, Tanya, and Yadina. All 6 of them constantly made fun of Cinderella and made her do all the chores. 20 wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Tina, Winona, Elena, Nina, Tanya, and Yadina all together. And then one day, the king of Vigintupple's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Vigintuple, his majesty is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Vigintuple." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her 6 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. They ran with huge excitement and picked out dresses to wear to the ball, but argue over who will Prince Vigintuple marry. Later, Cinderella is so sad, distraught, and upset about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Vigintuple. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There now, Cinderella. I can help with a bit of magic. No one will know it's you." And so, she chants the magic words, "Vigitity, Vigitati, Voo!" and waves her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done, and her best party dress is fixed and grown bigger and better. Cinderella says, "I've never seen such a Vigintuple-tastic gown! And get it out of my glass slippers!" But Cinderella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Later, luckily, Cinderella has 20 pumpkins and 40 mice. Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, "Vigitity, Vigitantity, Vigitantity, Voo!" and waves her magic wand again to turn the 20 pumpkins into a handsome coach and the 40 mice into horses. Cinderella climbs into the coach. Her fairy godmother says, "Have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you. Return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will change back to normal." And so, Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Vigintuple was wondering who he should marry. Tina, Winona, Elena, Nina, Tanya, and Nina say all together, "He's walking towards me!" But he's not walking towards any of them. Prince Vigintuple is walking towards any of Cinderella. "May I have this dance?" asked Prince Vigintuple. To which Cinderella replied, "I would be delighted." Prince Vigintuple and Cinderella dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Vigintuple was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. The king of Vigintuple comforted him by saying, There, no, son. I think we'll be able to find Cinderella," he said. And so, they began their journey all around the neighborhood to find Cinderella, and brought the 2 glass slippers she lost with them. By the time they arrived, they knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella and her 6 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of Cinderella, they find her 6 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters, Tina and Yadina. Prince Vigintuple then says, "Ladies, my father and I have a favor to ask. Can Annie try on these glass slippers?" Tina is first, but her foot is too big. Winona is next, but her foot is too small. "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. The rest did the same, but none of them figured out the right size. Suddenly, Prince Vigintuple, the king of Vigintuple, noticed Tonyrella singing. "Prince Vigintuple, is that you?" Tonyrella hollered excitedly, and the glass slippers fit! And Tonyrella, the Prince Vigintuple, the king of Vigintuple, lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrew's Doers. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and Andrew Does Everything, and buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com. And if you want to see some sequels to Tonyrella, tell your friends about it. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew's Doers, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents for the 3,000th episode of Andrew Does Everything special, 3,000 It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named 3,000 3,000 had 13 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia. All 13 of them made 3,000 do all the chores. 3,000 a wench. Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia all together. And then one day, the king of Trimalopham's messenger arrives and says, hear ye, the king of Trimalopam is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Trimalopam. But 3,000 is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Tasha, the oldest stepsister. Hannah said, no way, Tasha, you're wrong. He's going to marry me. Rena said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. The rest said, all three of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, 3,000 is so sad about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Trimalopam while doing chores. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and Anne asks 3,000 what's wrong by saying, why are you crying, 3,000 In which 3,000 responds, I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Trimalopam. 3,000 fairy godmother says, I can help with a bit of magic, and waves her magic wand. Because of that, 3,000 chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, 3,000 go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 3,000 has 3,000 pumpkins and 6,000 mice. 3,000 fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 3,000 pumpkins into a handsome coach, and the 6,000 mice into horses, and 3,000 red clothes into a gown and crown. 3,000 says, I've never seen such a Trimalopam-tastic gown. Get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? And climbs into the coach. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "Well, you can't. But have fun, Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before." And gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Trimaluplingham said, "Good evening, everyone. My son, Prince Trimalupling, was wondering who will marry. Isn't that right, son?" Prince Trimalupling responds, "Yes, father." Suddenly, Cinderella arrived at the ball just in time. Tasha, Hannah, Arena, Eliami, Tilly, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalia, and Dahlia say, "He's walking towards me!" all together, but he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Prince Trimalupling then asks, "May I have this dance?" And Cinderella responds, "I would be delighted." And Prince Trimalupling and Cinderella danced happily together. But later, Cinderella checks her clock. It's almost midnight! So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both of her glass slippers. Prince Trimalupling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. The king of Trimaluplingham comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find Cinderella." And so, Prince Trimalupling and his father began their journey all around Trimaluplingham to find Cinderella and brought the 2 glass slippers with them. By the time they arrived, Prince Trimalupling knocked on the door of the house where Cinderella and her 13 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters that lived. But instead of Cinderella, they find Tasha, Hannah, Rena, Ellie, Emmy, Tilla, Hannah, Ophelia, Uniqua, Sasha, Alana, Natalie, and Dahlia. Prince Trimalupling and the king of Trimaluplingham then say, "Ladies, we have a favor to ask. Can you try on these glass slippers?" Tasha is first, but her feet are too big. Hannah is next, but her feet are too small. "Nonsense! It fits!" she said. The rest did the same, but none of the feet are the right size. Suddenly, Prince Trimalupling and the king of Trimaluplingham noticed Cinderella singing, "The glass slippers fit!" And so, Cinderella, Prince Trimalupling, and the king of Trimaluplingham lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers, I hope this was a fun story for the 3,000th episode of our show, of our channel special. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And buy our merchandise at andrewdoeseverything.com. And then I have one more thing to say. Take care, Andrew's Doers. Bye.